Let your love flow through me. Let your love flow through me. May your love enable me to help someone in need today. God, your love is like a flowing gently, yet with power. Help us to go with the flow of your spirit every day and every hour. Let your love flow through me. Let your love someone in need today. God, let us be your vessels. Let us carry love to all. Help us to listen to your spirit so that we can hear your call. Let your love let your love flow through me. May your love enable me to help someone in need today. Let your love flow through me. Let your love flow through me. May your love enable me to help someone in need today. To help someone in need today.
Good morning, everyone, on this cold morning. Today is definitely making me think about when I have to move inside, perhaps, and not lead worship from my porch. But maybe the cool air outside will bring some relief to you too after a hot summer and early fall. So it's good to be with you, to worship with you as always. I think everything will go fine, but Zoom has been popping up some little gray boxes occasionally and such. So Zoom has done some upgrades recently and some of those things are appearing. So hopefully they won't interrupt your screen at all. But just if they do, know that we are aware and we are trying to figure out why that's happening sporadically. So just a heads up on that. This morning, we're going to continue our Unraveled series and talk about a familiar story of Zacchaeus when he is up in a tree trying to see Jesus. And so you'll see a lot of imagery of trees and people in trees, as you've already this morning as we've started off. And I hope that you have been building on to your Unraveled art project. If you're participating, you can't quite see my second one as it's yellow. It's kind of blending in with the church logo in the background, but Write on a piece of paper or a piece of fabric, tear up a old sheet, whatever you've got, write on a napkin. Doesn't matter. You can write or you can draw, make a symbol, something to respond to the question each week, and safety pin them onto a string or whatever method you have, and string those together throughout this season as we talk about Unraveled, and then we'll share those with each other. So I hope that you are adding. If you haven't begun yet, don't worry, you can just join in now and start building your art project, your Unraveled project. You can jump in at any time. So let's continue to worship. If you're visiting with us this morning, we're really glad that you're here, and just hope that you feel welcomed and loved in this time with us together. Let's continue. And we're going to start off with a video this morning.
Would you answer one question for us?
What is it?
We're wondering if people should be known for the worst thing they've ever done. If you were known for the worst thing you ever done, what that would be like?
I don't want to be known for the worst thing I've ever done.
No, I wouldn't either.
I'd be really embarrassed.
It'd be awful. Yeah, I think people would look down on me.
Yeah, it would be horrible.
Well, it might depend on what crime you've committed.
You'd never get rid of the guilt feelings.
Do you think when people are convicted of crimes, they should be known for it for the rest of their life?
Absolutely not. That's where grace comes in. We all deserve a second chance.
It's a touchy subject. I don't know. It depends on what the crime was.
I don't have a good answer for that.
I really don't want to comment.
They deserve to be forgiven, but they should be ever forgotten.
Well, I mean, if you've been convicted of a crime and you served your punishment, then I feel that's redemption.
If we don't believe in change, then what's the point? What's the use?
I think everybody deserves a second chance.
Everybody? Pedophiles?
That makes it a little harder.
Do you think people that have been convicted of crimes should always be known for their crimes instead of the other things that they've done?
Oh, yeah.
Just always be like that person, they're a criminal.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what it is, but yeah, they should be, asked.
Should we print it on their forehead or something, or what? How should we identify them?
Someone who is convicted of a heinous crime is no different than you, and that you have the same weaknesses, and you are, again, whether you're comfortable with it or not, you are still capable of those exact same things. So it's not our job to judge. That's left in the hands of a higher power.
Do you think when people are convicted of crimes, they should be known for it for the rest of their life?
It all depends, you know what I'm saying? If they willing to make a change, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody deserves a second chance. That's what it says in the Bible. Yeah. You're supposed to forgive everybody. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody better than the next person, and ain't no sin greater than the next.
Do you ever forgive? Yeah, you forgive. God forgives. So
yeah.
I mean, he set the foundation for everybody to be able to forgive. Because if he could forgive the sins that was done to him, then there's nothing else in the world that couldn't be forgiven. It's just up to you. If you can forgive them, but it's up to you if you still want to deal with them or not. Now that's the question.
Yeah. How many times do you think God forgives?
There's no number.
Yeah.
There's no number.
Over and over, no matter what.
He's doing it now.
Do you think God gives people a second chance, no matter what?
God gives people as many chances as they need. If he only gave me 2 chances, I'd be in trouble.
Me too.
Well, I think the only one that can give you true forgiveness is through God. So, and the church is the one that spreads God's love and his message. So,
does the church always spread God's love?
No, it fails most of the time.
Do you think if you'd done something like that, would you go to church and believe those people would forgive you?
The church, the people around the church, depending on how their personality is and then what all they believe in also. They can call themselves a Christian, but then sometimes, people are, like, they'll say one thing but then do another.
Do you think everybody, no matter what they've done, murder or whatever, deserves a second chance?
I think it's a complicated question. If someone has truly been rehabilitated, then obviously they should be out there. But if it's always hard to say, and I think a lot of people get released and do get a second chance and end up, most of our crimes are committed by those people.
Do you think we should do more to help people when they get out of prison to get on their feet, live a legitimate life, get a job, start a business?
I think in a perfect world, that would be a possibility, but I think in reality, that would be a very hard thing to implement.
Why is that?
I think it would cost a lot of time and money, and people have to be called to those kinds of tasks.
Can we ask you guys a quick question? Sure. We're asking people today what it would be like if you were always known for the worst thing you'd ever done.
Pretty much like it is today.
Is it?
Yeah.
Like, if you're convicted of a crime?
I have been convicted of a crime, that's why. And they pretty much treat me as if I'd been convicted yesterday, and I haven't been in jail in 10 years.
Wow. That sucks.
Yeah, it does.
That sucks.
Such is life in this world.
Tell me a story about it.
Just my job opportunities are, I mean, even though I've done my time and, you know, paid for my crime, my job opportunities are limited. My life's basically, everybody looks at me like I'm an outcast constantly. Just, you know, I never get a good break. It's really hard.
You think most people believe that people don't change? Or?
Yeah, I do believe that. I mean, I believe that people change, but I believe that most people don't.
So if other people that hadn't been convicted of crimes,
they all look bad at me no matter what.
But if they were known for the worst thing they'd ever done,
I don't know. I really don't. I mean,
they don't put themselves in that spot.
They don't put, yeah, exactly. They don't allow themselves to get in that position. So, not everybody gets to grow up with a silver spoon.
But you feel like in your heart you've changed.
Oh yeah, I know I have. Oh yeah, I'm completely different from 10 years ago.
And yet there's some people that like that have you write it on their forehead kind of thing.
Might as well, yeah. Every time I look at somebody, they look at me like, we know he's a criminal. And like I said, I haven't been in jail in 10 years.
Sorry, bro.
Don't worry about it.
All this pain, I wonder if I'll ever find my way. I wonder if my life could really change at all. All this earth, could all that is lost ever be found? Could a garden come up from this ground at all? You make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of the dust. You make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of us. All around, hope is springing up from this old ground. Out of chaos, life is being found in you. You make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of the dust. You make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of us. You make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of the dust. You make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of us. You make me new, you are making me new. You make me new, you are making me new.
Luke 19, 1 through 10. Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was wealthy. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but because he was short, he could not see over the crowd. So he ran ahead, climbed a sycamore fig tree to see him. Since Jesus was coming that way, when Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today. So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. All the people who saw this began to mutter, he has gone to be the guest of a sinner. But Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, Lord, look, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor, and if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount. And Jesus said to him, today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is the son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost.
Change my heart, oh God, make it ever true. Change my heart, oh God, may I be like you. You are the potter, I am the clay. Mold me and make me, this is what I pray. You are the potter, I am the clay. Mold me and make me, this is what I pray. Change my heart, oh God, make it ever true. Change my heart, oh God, may I be like you. Change my heart, oh God, may I be like
I invite you now to join with me in prayer. Creator God, we come now to this point of quiet reflection in our service. When we begin to feel that situations in our world are experiencing unraveling, we take refuge in knowing that we come together here in your house into this place of sanctuary where we find compassion, connections, and caring for one another. We give you thanks and praise for allowing us to be here, to bring our thanks to you, and to continue the work that we undertake to further bring your all-embracing love to others in our communities in need. Each week, we take this opportunity to bring back to you a portion of the abundance you have given to each of us. We gratefully accept these gifts and offerings, whether by mail, online, or mobile giving. And we renew at this time our commitment to use these gifts in ways that reflect our gratitude for your blessings upon us. We give these thanks to you in your most holy name. Amen.
Said of us while we walked among the living, let it be said of us by the ones we leave behind, let it be said of us that we live to be a blessing for life.
And let it be said of us that we gave to the dying, let it be said of us by the fruit we leave behind, let it be said of us that our legacy is blessing for life.
This day you said life, you said death right before us. This day blessing and curse is our choice now, and we will choose to be a blessing for life. Let it be said of us that our hearts belong to Jesus. Let it be said of us that we spoke the words of life. Let it be said of us that our heritage is blessing for life. This day you said life, you said death right before us. This day every blessing and curse is a choice now, and we will choose to be a blessing for life. We will choose to be a blessing for life. Cause blessings and curses are choices. Will we build up, tear down? The moment of truth is now. This day you said life, you said death right before us. This day every blessing and curse is a choice now, and we will choose to be a blessing for life.
Let us pray. Gracious God, Zacchaeus valued money over people and power over equality. He was a sinner, but so are we. Like Zacchaeus, we are quick to prioritize the wrong things, valuing our to-do lists over family time, our own success over a relationship with you, and wealth over generosity. We lose sight of what really matters. We lose sight of love. Forgive us for our ignorance and impatience. Call us back to the life that you long for us to lead. With humility and gratitude, we pray. Amen.
So if we were in person right now and I asked you to raise your hand if you learned the story of Zacchaeus as a child in church, probably the majority of you would raise your hands. Well, usually when I tell this story, I go back in time to when I was just a child, and we learned it at Vacation Bible School. And Mr. Jerry Hoke told the story, and he leaped up into the pulpit on top of it in the sanctuary, pretending to be Zacchaeus. And of course, all the children just burst out into giggles because, I mean, Mr. Hoke was probably maybe only in his 40s at the time, late 40s perhaps, but he had a full head of silver hair. And so to us, he seemed kind of ancient and like he should not be leaping up onto pulpits, which just made the feat even more incredible. This story has always kind of been thrown into the children's category for us. We even sing a little song about it. You probably learned it, or maybe you taught it to your children. Zacchaeus was a wee little man was he. You can keep singing it at home if you want. But that's kind of where we relegate the story to. When in truth, the story is so much more. I think many of us have missed something by relegating it to the children's classroom because it's a story of unraveling that can speak to a lot of us. So who is Zacchaeus? You know, as children, we learned a couple things about him, that he was a tax collector and that he was short, which I can relate to, and that people didn't really like him. But let's flesh out the story a bit more, who he is or was. He was an Israelite. You know, he's from the same community as the crowd. He worked, though, for the Romans as a tax collector. So he collected money from his fellow Israelites. He was wealthy and greedy. Like a lot of tax collectors, he likely skimmed off the top, which is what gave him his wealth and made him even more despised by his fellow Israelites. Folks didn't like him. They thought he was a sinner. They call him that in the text. He was a cog in the oppression of his own people. And no one would have shown him hospitality and invited him into their own home. And of course, he's short. I guess it's not much of a surprise then that he has to climb a tree to see Jesus. I mean, he may have wealth and he may have a role in the government, but no one is moving aside for him to get to the front of the crowd. My short stature has sometimes gotten me to the front of the crowd. In some places, people are kind enough to realize that you can't see, and so they let you stand in front. Or think of children. You know, we part the ways to let the kids go to the front. I always think of when we go to the zoo, and there's the big glass where you can see the penguins. And all the parents, all the adults just kind of let the kids, you know, whoever's there, run through them, of course, to get up front and see the penguins because they're too short to see from the back. But folks really don't like Zacchaeus, and they're not going to help him. They're not going to budge for him. So up a tree he goes. And then this short, simple interaction while he is balancing in a tree unravels his life. Out of all the people that are there in the crowd, Jesus notices Zacchaeus. He takes note of him. And not only does he acknowledge him, calls him out for being there. I could call out one of you for being here, right, in worship this morning. Oh, I see that Melody is here for worship. But he speaks to him and he invites himself over for dinner. Maybe if this wasn't the pandemic, I would invite myself to dinner at one of your homes right now and you couldn't say no. But Jesus does this with Zacchaeus. He just invites himself over. And of course, this incites the crowd because Zacchaeus is a well-known sinner. I mean, he's a crook. He takes money from his poor neighbors, his fellow Israelites, and it not only pays, it supports the Roman government, but it benefits himself. I mean, today we would say that he's guilty of a white-collar crime, right? And Jesus is going to his house. Why not go to someone else's house? The crowd sees him in such a horrible light. But Jesus must see something different. Otherwise, why would he go to Zacchaeus' home? And that moment of acknowledgement and invitation seems to unravel things for Zacchaeus. His vocation, his identity, his potential, it all unravels. We never even make it to dinner. I mean, I'm sure they go, but we don't get invited to see how dinner goes. Right then and there, Zacchaeus becomes a changed man. His heart is transformed like the Grinch's heart growing 3 times. He says he will give up all his possessions and repay anyone he has cheated by 4 times the amount. He's basically bankrupting himself by giving back all that he has, all that he's taken back to the community. And he goes from a greedy man to a generous man, a man that was perpetuating an oppressive economic system of his own kin, to a man that has been saved wholly in the way only God's love can save and transform us. So much has unraveled so quickly for Z. His identity, his vocation, his part in this oppressive system, his greed, and yet it was the unraveling that saved him, that redeemed him for a new and generous life with purpose. You'll notice I just called him Z. I do that a lot in my notes because his name is so long. But I think in kind of imagining him right now as this changed man, it might be appropriate. Z's resume has unraveled. But even more so, his perception of himself has unraveled. I imagine he had a pretty small view of himself, that this life he had built was all that he could be. That at some point he made a decision to do something that he knew would even harm his fellow Israelites, because he thought that that's all that there was for him to survive in this world. But Jesus saw more for him. And so he called out to Zacchaeus to come down from that tree today. What's your view of yourself? I want you to think about that for a moment. What's your view of yourself? Sometimes when things come unraveled in our lives, we might think that there is nothing left. When in truth, we had to unravel from the smallness of what we thought we were capable of or what our life could be. Because it only is in doing so that we can begin to see all that we are and the greater possibility for purpose in our lives. Something that God sees in us even when we can't. We may be hiding out in a tree, feeling insignificant in this world, when Jesus is there, ready to unravel us and help us see what God sees in us, what potential is in us for greatness. So let me ask you another question. How do you see others? Remember that video we watched at the front end of worship? So many people in that film struggled to see folks that had served time in prison in a different way. Some were ready to give forgiveness, but others, it depended on what the person had done. In the end, the man who had served time spoke of how his conviction followed him everywhere. I remember speaking at a More Squared press conference. It was actually one that we hosted at Crossroads. And a man named Johnny spoke. And Johnny has worked alongside More Squared for many years. And as he spoke, he talked of the couple of years that he spent in jail and how many roadblocks that had, been in his way since being released. We were talking about the ban the box on rental applications and job applications that, prevent people from even getting to a second step in the interview process. And that Johnny had been a victim of that. He had to admit that he had been convicted of a crime. And so he had a hard time getting an interview, and he had a hard time getting a place to live. And he had a hard time finishing his college degree. But he stood there that day speaking to the press, sharing that he had accomplished all those things in the end. But it was this uphill battle all the time. Everyone saw him for what he once was. And even now that he had a job and had a college degree and lived on his own and was taking care of his child, people still saw him as he once was, as a criminal. The crowd around Zacchaeus, they only saw him one way. Do you think that day their view of him unraveled as well? Do you think that as they walked away, they accepted the changed man that he was becoming? Or do you think they always held that view of him, that view of what he once was? God looks at Zacchaeus, at Johnny, at so many of us and sees what we can be. But it feels near impossible when others hold us hostage to the views they hold of our former selves that we are trying to outgrow. Let me say that again. God looks at me and you and Zacchaeus and Johnny and all of us and sees what we can be. But it often feels near impossible when other folks hold us hostage to their view of us, of our former selves, a former self that we are trying to outgrow. And sometimes we hold ourselves hostage to that older view, to that former self. We hold ourselves hostage, thinking we can never break free of it and be something more. So the story of Zacchaeus in the tree isn't such a simple story after all. It's not just for children, it's for us too. So here's my challenge for you for this week, and what I want to invite you to write about on your unraveled square, your paper, whatever you use. And you can answer either of these questions, or maybe you want to answer both. One is to spend some time with God, asking God to help you see yourself as God sees you. Asking God to confirm for you what you're struggling to see, what the possibility for you is, and write about that on your fabric. Or you can write about this, or you can do both. Where do you need to humble yourself and let your view of someone in particular or a group of folks unravel so that you can see them as God sees them? Where do you need to humble yourself and let your view of someone or a group of folks unravel so you can see them as God sees them? Maybe you have a specific name. Maybe it's a group of people. Spend some time thinking about this. This story requires you to reflect a bit more. It may not be as obvious to you, but perhaps you're the one in the tree, unable to see what more there could be to life for you. And you need God to unravel your current perception of yourself, unravel your life in some way, unravel your resume, unravel your identity. Or maybe you're one in the crowd, judging the one in the tree. And you need to let God in to unravel your view so you can show grace and begin to see what God sees. Spend some time thinking about that and writing or drawing about that on your fabric for your Unraveled project. And I invite you to sing, if you've been sitting for a while, to maybe get ready to move or clap a little bit and just join along in this song.
Well, it looks like it might be a hard road, but I'm gonna walk it with you. And I know you might have a heavy load, but I can carry some too. I will lift you up when they push you down. I will raise my voice and stand my ground. Well, it looks like it might be a hard road, but I'm gonna walk it with you.
Well, it looks like it might be a long night,
but I ain't going nowhere.
And I know it's gonna be a hard fight,
but I will stay right here. I will shine a light in the darkest hour. I will face the man in the tallest tower.
It looks like it might be a long night,
but I ain't going nowhere. I will work, I will fight, I will strive in the name of love. I will speak, I will shout, I will sing into the skies above. Well, it looks like it might be a perilous climb, but I will follow your lead. And I know it might be a long, long time until the last one of us is free. But I will hold on tight, stay by your side. I will be with you for this whole damn ride. Well, it looks like it might be a perilous climb, but I will follow your lead. Well, it looks like it might be a hard road, but I'm gonna walk it with you. And I know you might have a heavy load, but I can carry some too. I will lift you up when they push you down. I will raise my voice and stand my ground. Well, it looks like it might be a hard road, but I'm gonna walk it with you. I'm gonna walk it with you. I'm gonna walk it with you. I will walk, I will climb, shine my light the whole night through. Because it looks like it might be a hard road, but I'm gonna walk it with you. Oh, I'm gonna walk it with you. I said I'm gonna walk it with you. I'm gonna walk it with you.
Before we close in prayer and have a final song, I just want to remind you of a few things coming up. One is that today from 2 to 5, Madeline will be at Crossroads in the parking lot to sign ballots. She's a notary. So if you need that resource or others do, please send them. This is for Missouri voters. So from 2 to 5, she'll be out there. Please take advantage of that. And there's a graphic on Facebook that the church site posted, and you can share that with others, invite them to come out. Also, we had our first parking lot meetup yesterday. They had a great time with Beth. And then there is another one this Wednesday evening with me. Since it's evening time, feel free to bring dinner. And if it's cold, feel free to bring blankets. And then Thursday at 2:00 with Aaron. So sign up for those online. We'd love to see you. Even if you can only be there for part of the time, just make sure you sign up so we kind of have a heads up of how to organize in the parking lot and properly social distance and stuff. But I'm glad that we're squeezing in some opportunities to see each other in case this weather really keeps that, knocks out that option. So other good things coming up, check those out in the weekly news that comes out. In a moment, we're going to sing one last song. It's the song that you heard at the front end of worship, Help Someone in Need. That's brand new to us. So a lot of times when we have a new song, we'll sing it twice so you get more comfortable with it. Thank you, Robert, for another beautiful piece of music. You always write such great stuff. And for Greg, your contributions to the music. And it's, our folks are always so gifted in writing stuff, but seeing what they write in this time to comfort us, to draw us out of our isolation. It's just, I think, really powerful. So thank you for your contributions. Let's pray, and then we will sing. And then after worship, we'll have greeting time. Gracious and loving God, we so often have small views of ourselves and of others, but you always see the greatness of who we are, of what we are becoming. May we see as you see. May we climb down out of the tree and let our lives be unraveled into something great. May we give others the opportunity to do the same, to become something more with purpose, with generosity, with joy, with love, with kindness in this world. You see so much for us, and we fail to see it, and we fail often to live into it. So unravel us, oh God, unravel our world so that we might become what you see. Amen. Let's sing one more time.
Let your love flow through me. Let your love flow through me. May your love enable me to help someone in need today. God, your love is like a river, flowing gently yet with power. Help us to go with the flow of your spirit every day and every hour. Let your love flow through me. Let your love someone in need today. God, let us be your vessels. Let us carry love to all. Help us to listen to your spirit so that we can hear your call. Let your love flow through me. Let your love flow through me. May your love enable me to help someone in need today. Let your love flow through me. Let your love flow through me. May your love enable me to help someone